So today's topic of the video is to understand the addition and subtraction of the spaces, that is the technique of additive and subtractive space management planning. When we talk about the boundaries, it can be a physical boundary or it can be an imaginary boundary, that in our theoretical terms we generally refer as the tangible and the intangible ones. So for example, we have a house plan here, a non-rectangular plot, but somehow the spaces have been managed to carve out a rectilinear thing. So if we take example of this powder washroom, so we can say we have a wall here, we have a wall here, we have another wall cum ventilator here, and a wall cum door here. So these four sides or the four physical things create its physical boundary. So one can say this powder toilet is confined up to this length and up to this length. So these two dimensions define the limits of this powder toilet. So what about this living and dining lobby space? So when we consider this space as a whole, if we consider its physical boundaries, we have defined this rectangle in the dashed line. So there are slider windows here, some kind of kitchen opening or the staircase wall or the bedroom wall here, and a wall here. As soon as someone is entering from the main entry and trying to enter into the living room, that is okay. But when someone is entering from the main entry and trying to enter the master bedroom or the secondary bedroom, or someone has to walk up to the staircase to the first floor, or someone has to enter into the kitchen and maybe using the puja room as well. So when you see these arrows, did you notice that these arrows are being drawn inside this rectangle? So what does this indicate? That we have merged the activities, that the circulation and the movement has been merged along with the living dining lobby area. So for one perspective, we can say that the limits, the boundaries of this living and dining lobby are gone. So how do we define the boundaries of this living dining area? What we have done here is we have drawn this imaginary rectangle, which is a line aligned with the furniture placement, that is the sofa here, and a line aligned with these two points, you can say the walls. So now if we consider the same scenario, same moment, someone entering from here to staircase or maybe to other areas, now what we notice, that this rectangle has been kept untouched. So if someone is having some conversation here, or maybe watching a TV unit placed here, so this movement of the other people in the house is not anyway disturbing the activities happening in between this imaginary rectangle. So for this powder washroom, powder toilet, we had this rectangle as its physical boundary, which was limiting the space from inside to the outside of the space, that is the living area. For this living room, this wall or maybe this wall and this wall, these are not defining the limits of this living room. Instead, this imaginary boundary is defining the limits of this living area. So that's how we decide the physical boundaries and the imaginary boundaries. Similarly, in the kitchen area, you can say, if we consider this whole space as the limit of this kitchen, again someone entering from the living room and utilizing the wet kitchen area behind the dry kitchen may be interrupting the activities happening in between here. So now again, if we draw this imaginary line, this secludes our whole kitchen area, the dry kitchen. So there is no activity disturbing the functioning of this kitchen area. So that's how we decide the imaginary boundaries and the physical boundaries of a space. Once we have understood the boundaries, that is imaginary, intangible, and the physical, tangible boundaries of a space, now we move on to the techniques of additive and subtractive space management. So for example, of the same house, we have highlighted this zone here. So if I take an example of this bedroom, so the highlighted zone, something, it comes out to be like an L-shaped space which is having this kind of boundary. So what we can consider is, there is space A, there is space B, this is C, this is space D, space E, and additional small space F. So once we have learned how to define the boundaries, so it is easy that we can identify. We have one boundary of the proper bedroom area, which is aligned with these walls. So this is kind of a physical boundary. Another boundary of the transition space in between the dresser and the bedroom. The third boundary of the dresser area. The fourth one is our washroom. The fifth one is our open space or kind of a window kind of thing, the reading space. And the sixth is we have additional bay window here. So in total we have 6 spaces. So we have fragmented our whole part into the 6 spaces, or maybe you can say we have done the reverse approach, that we have combined the 6 spaces into the single one. So this is something we call as additive space management. So we have combined A plus B plus C plus D plus E and plus F. So if I draw this plan somewhere here, so what we have done is space A, this space B, this space C, this space D, this space E and the space F. So we have kind of generated this L kind of thing, which is defining the master bedroom unit. Now if we consider secondary bedroom unit, so we have again, you see this L kind of space happening. So again we have boundaries. So we have boundary A dash, we have boundary B dash, we have boundary C dash and D dash. So all this A, B, C, D dash, these are combining for the secondary bedroom unit. This is supposedly one L shape, and this is supposedly the other L shape. So we call it O and O dash. Okay, so two L shape unit has been combined. So for example, this was the additional method, that A plus B plus C plus D. Similarly, A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, these have been added together. There is no space carved out of any other space, like there is no overlapping or there is nothing kind of thing which is intersecting. These are two separate units. But when we consider this whole rectangle, this whole rectangular unit which has been hashed here, so out of this whole rectangle, if we see, there is one L-shaped unit and one rectangular unit which was part of the other unit. But when we consider this whole rectangle, what we have done is we have subtracted this L-shaped part and subtracted this C dash part, rectangular shaped part, separately. So we have two parts here. So if we consider the whole plan, we have done the subtractive management. We have taken out this L-shaped space of the master bedroom unit. But if we consider this separately, we have done the additive management. So this is the technique which we combine the additive and subtractive methods, so that there is minimum negative spaces coming out of our design. So if we have somehow, supposedly considering this bedroom here, we have we might have done one A dash here, B dash here, or maybe a C dash here as a washroom area. So what would have been done? This space would have been left as a negative space, or maybe we might have used as an open space from the outside, maybe for some purpose. But for now it would have been left here. So there is no use of doing the negative spaces in between our good design arranged spaces here. So this is how we combine the additive ones and the subtractive ones to carve out spaces which bring out positive design, which bring out positive alignment, and the overall cohesion of the spaces makes it a better planning. Thank you.